Hello, I'm Ailish and these videos are for the NC State Beginner Knitting Workshop. In this video, I'm going to show you how to cast off your work. Now that I've reached my desired length, which for me means when I hold together the two ends, I'm able to wrap this around my head twice. That's how long I wanted it. I'm going to be showing you how to cast off, which opposite from casting on is essentially taking all of these stitches off the needle and creating a final seam. When casting off, it's really important to keep it very loose. Opposite from casting on, these stitches, once we cast off, will not stretch apart. So we want to cast off as loose as we want the final piece to be. If we cast it off too tight, it will stay tight. So that's very important in this casting off stage to keep it loose. So to cast off, we're going to hold the yarn the same way, the pinky finger wrapped around and then the finger. And in this row, we're not going to do any purl stitches, so we're never going to be pulling the yarn to the front of the needle. We're always going to keep it in the back, and we're always going to go in with our working needle from the bottom. So the first stitch, we're going to knit as normal. So put it in through the bottom and wrap it around and pull it off the needle. Second, same, just as normal, and knit stitch. But now, this is where it goes different. Instead of continuing on, we're going to take this first stitch, we're going to take this needle, and we're going to push it in like this through the stitch, the first stitch that we made, and we're going to kind of lift it up from the needle. So we're going to lift it up and pull it over the second stitch that we made, and then from this side, we're going to take that second stitch and have it on the needle. So basically, we just pulled the first stitch over the second stitch. Now we're going to go back to this needle. We're going to do another normal knit stitch. So through the bottom and off the needle. And then again, we're going to go into that first stitch here on our working needle through this side. I'm going to lift it off the needle until it's over the second stitch, and then pull it through like so. So now we can see the beginning of the end seam here. And remember to keep this loose. I don't want it to be too tight. We go into a normal knit stitch, and then we go into that first stitch, lift it off the needle, over the second stitch, and then drag it off. And you can kind of make sure that it's staying loose as you go, and you can see that this does not stretch at all, which is why you want to keep it loose. Let me show that again. Gotta keep it loose. Normal knit stitch through the first one on the working needle, lift it off the needle, over the second stitch, and drag it off. And as you're going, you can kind of make sure it's loose enough. If you feel like it's not loose enough, then make sure that you continue on a bit looser. And then just keep doing that until you get to the end. Alright, I'm getting closer to the end here, so I'm going to show it again. Again, we're taking the working needle, doing a normal knit stitch, then we're going back through that first stitch on the working needle, pulling it away, and this pulling it away from the needle just makes it a lot easier to take over that first stitch. Pull it away so you can see that second stitch, and then take your needle with the stitch. Pull up. So you're never going to have more than 2 stitches on your working needle. So for that last stitch, same thing. Completely normal. And we're going to take that over. And now we only have one left here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors And for this, we're going to leave quite a bit of a tail because we're going to be using that tail to sew together the two ends of the scarf. So we're going to want a pretty long tail, however long you feel comfortable with. I'm going to do about this much, and that should be enough to sew together the two ends. And then here we still have that one stitch on the needle, and I'm just going to pull the yarn through. Don't worry if it sticks out a bit like this. When we sew it together, that will go away. And there's the end, and as you can see, it's not stretchy. The front, the cast on is very stretchy, and the cast off is not stretchy. So those are some differences between the cast on and cast off, which is why it's so important to keep this loose while casting off.